You are welcome to start sitting or start laying. If it's a laying kind of day today, then feel free to lay down for your grounding. Our next pose, like our first poses, will be on the ground. So if you would like to start there, or if you feel like sitting up today, we can do our grounding seated as well. And remember that you can have anything underneath your bum too. I always find it so much more comfortable to have something there, but you don't have to. Something under your head is lovely as well. And if you are laying down and you get those lower back niggles, you might want to have your feet on the mat with your knees pointing up. And then we use our breath to bring us into this moment in the studio right now. Especially missing a session last week, it's easy to forget some of the skills about being mindful. So we use a deep breath in, long breaths out, as you just allow your body to sink down into the mat, starting to let go of control or the perception that we have control, and to allow yourself to be here as you are. The next deep breath in, we open up the heart space and allowing nourishment, support to move into our bodies. And watch it move from the heart space down to the fingers and toes, the head. And then on the out breath, letting go of any of the things that would stop you from practicing. Letting go of tiredness, to-do lists, self-doubt, worries. Before coming back to your natural breathing rhythm. And just notice how you're breathing today compared to any other day. Are you breathing more through your nose or your mouth than any other time? Is there different parts of your body moving with your breath? Maybe today it's your chest when normally it's your tummy. Maybe today you're noticing your back move deeper into the mat. And then notice where your mind goes to. Is there a recurring thought that keeps coming up? Or maybe you've got monkey mind moving from tree to tree, the constant chatter in the back. Either way, each time you notice your mind is thinking, try to watch it as if it's at a distance, before guiding your focus back to what your breath is doing now. And this is meditation. Watching our breath, being aware of our thoughts, and then coming back to our breath. We're not trying to clear our mind. We're trying to focus it. Focus it on the things that we want to focus on. The breath, the senses, the body. And then we move into our belly breaths from here. If you know them, feel free to move without the cues, or if you'd like the reminder, stay with me. As we inhale, we open up the tummy space, expanding. And on the out breath, activating the sides of your tummy, the front of your tummy, and pulling it in towards your spine on the out breath. Inhale to open up the tummy. Exhale to actively pull it in towards your spine. Trying to avoid any other movements like the chest or the lower abdominals. If you lose concentration, feel free to let go of the practice and start again when you're ready. Or if you're finding this quite good, easy even, we can work with lengthening. Inhaling in for longer, deeper. And a smooth, gentle transition to the exhale. Pulling the tummy in towards the spine. And we finish on the longest out breath that you can muster, slowly releasing the breath as you squeeze the muscles in. And then gently release energetically and physically from the pose, and doing anything in your body that feels right. Might mean moving knees from side to side. Might mean bringing them up to the chest, maybe stretching out arms and legs. Just doing what feels nice for you. And we're going to come into that constructive rest pose that most of you are already in. So laying down with your back of your pelvis on the mat, shoulders on the mat, pulling your shoulders back and down. And if you just bring your hands to your lower abdomen so that the palms sit on your hips and then your fingers go down towards your pubic bone, and just have a look at the level of them. So if we tilt the pelvis up, so the pelvic bone goes up towards the ceiling, you notice that you have a tilt. And then the opposite way is like a hyperextension, like the other way. And what we want for a lot of these exercises is what we call neutral, where your hands sit flat in that position. You'll have a little curve underneath your back, but we're not, fully extended out. So this one's really good for prenatal stuff too for you. And then imagine that you have a T, we call it the T zone, that extends from one hip to the other. So if you draw an imaginary line or even a real line across from one hip to the other, and then from your pelvic bone up towards that line, that's the T. And when we do these next few exercises, what we do is we activate the pelvic floor first. So we lift the pelvic floor up that line, and just place your fingers on the inside of your bone here. Try and pull these hips in together, and you should be able to feel a little activation happen in those muscles there. So you feel this bit squeeze up and then this bit come in, and that's called activating your T zone. We're just going to practice that one a couple of times now. So inhale to pelvic floor lift, deep abdominals squeeze in, and then exhale to release. Inhale to lift, activate T zone, release. Do 3 more in your own time. If you can't feel that activation, imagine you're trying to pull the hips in towards each other. Did you find that you could feel that? Can you feel those muscles? It is, yeah, and I actually love this part of it because it is actually very mindful to notice those. So our next challenge is, the next few poses that we do that, and then we do other stuff. So that's where like it's really good for mind-body connection. So the first one we're doing is toe touches. So it's where we keep that spine neutral, so making sure those hips and pelvic bone are equal. And then we're going to lift our knees up. And sorry, this one's a little bit different. We're actually, instead of neutral spine here, we send our lower back down towards the ground, but we don't want to lift our tailbone up. So we imprint our back down into the mat, lifting our feet, our knees up, and these are called toe touches. So we inhale to activate that T-zone. So feel the pelvic floor squeeze in, hips coming in together, and then one toe comes down, and then comes straight back up. And we do the other side, inhale to activate the T-zone, and then toe touch to come down. Now if you notice any lower back issues or your hips rock from side to side here, you can just bring your toe down but not so far, it doesn't have to touch the ground. And using the out breath to come down, in breath to come up. Activate T-zone. And we aim for about 5. And if you notice those hips moving from side to side, yeah, how does that feel tomorrow to be doing that? Yeah, can you feel them activate? Yeah, beautiful. And just a little bit slower with your breath there, Leah, so you get that real, point your tippy toe down and then coming back up. Yeah. We'll just do 1 more each side. And then bring the feet down towards the mat and back into a neutral spine. How do we find that one? Is that okay? Could we, were you able to coordinate T-zone with the movement? Not really. Not really? Yeah. I feel like it takes a lot of work just to connect. Oh, interesting. Okay, so then it might be still about really actively trying to squeeze those 2 hips in together. I mean, you still do get that movement there. Watch too for a bulging happening for your tummy as well. So we don't want the tummy to come out. We do need to use those deep abdominals to bring it back in. So with the next one, we've done this one before, imprint the spine again to bring the knees up over the hips. And then we bring the arms up facing towards the ceiling as well, and this is kind of that dead bug one. So activate T-zone, so inhaling to lift the pelvic floor and squeeze those hips in together. And then left leg goes out while the right arm goes up. And then we come back into the center, squeezing those pelvic floor and hips in, and then we go the other way. I'm trying to coordinate myself here. Now, if it feels like it's too much or like your back starts to arch, then don't send that lower leg out as far. You can leave the lower leg coming up quite tall instead. Yeah, that was me too. Other way, other leg, Loretta, other leg. Other leg. Yeah, so opposite ones extend out. That's it. Montana, yep. And then if you feel like your hips are rocking a little bit, deeper activation between those muscles. And then gently, especially for you too, Montana, take your time to rest if you need to in between. How does it feel to have your head back down there, Leah, if you have your head down? Is it on something? Oh yeah, beautiful. And then we'll finish 1 more each side. Yes, you do look quite strong in your core there, though, Loretta, like keeping nice and still through that center. And then we release the feet down. If you would like a nice long stretch, you can extend the legs like you there, Leah, point the toes, reach the arms up tall above. You're doing these little big stretches there, and then out breath to relax. Was there any parts of your body that didn't love that? What was that? I can't. Oh, you even kicked. I don't think any of us have that issue. But yes, I wonder if it's like you're being active, so they're being active, right?
They're upset.
Yes. Yeah, stop moving. I find sometimes normally when you're still, but sometimes it is when you're active.
The baby's upset.
We're all doing it. We're going to roll onto hands and knees now for tabletop. So take your time to come up to this one where we're going to do something a little bit similar to what we just did then before we move on to some more traditional yoga poses. So bringing the wrists underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. We'll come into our cat-cows here first because they're nice for our spine. So inhaling to lift the chest. And just now too, as you're getting further along too, Montana, don't drop the tummy and have that as much of a bend through here. You kind of stay more neutral for the cow one, but feel free to come all the way up to the cat.
Complex inside of it just shrinks.
Who, me? Tuck the chin under, round the spine, then tucking the tailbone under as well to get that lovely stretch. And then inhaling to come up to cow. Exhaling, cat. And as we come back to neutral and having that neutral spine there, just check with your shoulders that we're not sunken in and that we're not rounded at the top, that we're just active. And then we're going to activate that T-zone again and then sending the left leg out. Left leg goes out, but then right arm comes out. So we've done this one before. Cat bird, we call it in yoga. And then knee and elbow comes down to meet underneath. And then we extend out long. And we're hoping to have as little movement as possible through those hips because we're using the core and we're activating the right parts to do that. We'll aim for 5, inhaling to extend, exhaling to bring elbow to knee. Feel free to have a rest in between if you need to as well. So I think we have one more. Awesome, Tora. And then we'll come down, not all the way into a child's pose, but we'll push our hands back, and often our wrists are the things that get sore when we do these ones. So turning the fingers in towards each other, and then on an out breath, just pushing down on them, and just gently, because it can be quite a tight stretch. Can you feel that?
No.
Don't do that? Oh yeah, maybe not for you. Yeah, you don't like that one? So the other kind of more gentle one is if you sit back, is to bring your hands this way and then just pull on them, and yeah, less weight that we're doing that then. And then same with that other side. I find one's definitely tighter than the other, like one. And the other one is to have your hands in little fists and then moving them from side to side, rolling them around. And then we'll get back to it. So we come back to our tabletop, finding those active shoulders, neutral spine, activate T-zone on the inhale, lifting pelvic floor, bringing hips in together, and then right leg extend. And when you feel like you're comfortable there, left arm extend with the palm facing in. And then breathing out to connect underneath. And breathing in to head out long. And they don't have to touch for it to be considered. That one's your trickier side, is it, Loretta? Yeah. Take your time, even doing, yeah, well, that, I was going to say, and really focus on the core work, even if it doesn't come all the way, if they don't meet underneath. You sure can. I love that you know that. So we aim for the 5, and then we rest. And resting all the way down into wide child's pose for this one. So wide knees, well done. And coming all the way down, just allowing the body to rest completely. Feeling free to putting a pillow under your head or a blanket under your head if you'd like. Then we'll inhale to come up and move into a little flow on our knees. So we'll be here for a little. If you do like that blanket under your knees, feel free to add one in. But we're going to bring the left leg forward. You can walk the front foot out to the outside if you like. We want the back knee behind the hip to come into a low lunge. So reaching those hands up with the palms facing in. And then on an out breath, just sinking down a little, getting that extra lovely stretch through the hips. And then to help with that, stretching out the core as well, we inhale to get tall and then maybe lean back a little, as long as you're squeezing glute muscles in, hips in, to support that lower back. And then we have hands to heart space here, and we're going to pivot around on the knee that's on the ground. That one comes in behind. As we open up, we wiggle this other foot so it's in line with the knee. Left hand down on left leg, and the top one comes up. So we're kind of in a little mini extended side lunge. And then we reach that top arm over, but we want to get this openness through the chest here. So bringing this top shoulder back behind, and the arm comes up and over. Yeah. No, you're right. You're just facing that. You're facing. Yeah, you're exactly right. And Tamara's able to see me from the position that she's in, so that works out well. And then we release that hand to come down, both hands on hips, and then we're going to pivot this longer foot. This left foot out longer, so you might end up facing all the way to that way, or you'll find where you are there tomorrow if you're staying up with it. So hands to hips, activate glutes here by tucking them under, activating that T-zone as well as we push the hips a little bit more forward so that we're aligned. And then releasing the arms out long, shoulder blades pulled back and down. And then dropping the left hand down as we reach that right one up to come up towards the ceiling. And still noticing that you're holding those muscles strong in the core. And then on the out breath, this right hand is going to extend down towards the ground. So now we have ankle, knee and arm all aligned. Pushing those hips forward as we squeeze glute muscles in and reaching the top arm up to come into that little arm balance that we've got going on. Preparation for one later. And then this one's a good one too, so activating that T-zone again and then lifting that side leg up. And now for extra fun, you can have your hand on your hip here as we lift and release that leg. So inhale to lift, exhale to come down. And to stop that back from arching, if you imagine getting your hips towards your ribs, not all the way, we're not curling up, but if you just imagine activating them as we do about 5. And then on that 5th one, we leave it up, but then bring it back behind to grab hold if we can, to come into a little stretch through that front side of the body, maybe reaching those arms back. And then we release, turning towards the back of the mat, child's pose to come down. Wide knees, big toes touching, coming down for that little rest. And just noting, seeing the parts of your body that might be feeling that. Maybe not yet, maybe that's more later. And then we'll repeat that on the other side. So we'll inhale to come up, and you can even do it from the position that you're in. So if you're facing towards the back of the mat, you can do it from there, bringing the right leg forward this time to come into our low lunge. Taking your time to ground, activate core glutes, send that tailbone down as we inhale the arms to come up, and holding this area strong so that we're moving from our center and then bringing those palms up together. And then we go hands to heart space as we pivot around. The knee comes in. We kind of wiggle the foot up so it's in line. Right hand on top of right leg, other hand on the hip. And really focus on opening up this knee here so we get that lovely hip opener. And then top arm can reach up. Move the shoulder towards the back, and then on an out breath, leaning over. And that lovely extra stretch. Maybe looking up towards the ceiling if your body allows that. And then we release, bringing that hand down to the other side now as we straighten the right leg. Sorry, I've missed a bit. We stay up tall and extend the arms out long. Sorry, Montana, I missed that bit. Shoulder blades pulled back and down, extending the arms out. So the whole body is active. We're not just kind of hanging here. We're all active. And then on an out breath, we bring the hand down, reach the top one up, looking up towards the ceiling, getting that lovely stretch. So if you bring that left arm down to the ground then, Loretta. Oh, sorry. Okay. I'll come to you in a sec then, see how you go with these ones then. You might just stay with the stretch for this one instead. And then activating that T-zone and lifting that leg up and doing a couple of those. Well, we aim for about 5. But if that's hurting, Loretta, it's all right? Okay. It wasn't working. Is it hips? Like backs of the hip? Yeah, interesting. And then on that 5th one, we bend it in, grab hold of it at the back, and then pull it in, maybe open up that chest before releasing, sending the leg out long. And then child's pose. That could be towards the back of the mat, or you can wiggle around to the front, whichever one you like, before we move up into our stronger standing poses. Find an even breath here. Then we push up through the hands, curl the back toes up for a downward facing dog to start getting us up towards standing. Feel free to wiggle around towards the front of the mat if you're not there now. Spreading out fingers, maybe having a bend of the knees, maybe having wider feet. Just spending a little bit of time on your downward facing dog. Sending heels away as we walk the dog. And then we're going to lift the left leg up for a 3-legged dog. And then on the out breath, pulling the weight over the hands and then bringing it through as we flatten the back foot and come into warrior 1. So bending that left leg, reaching those arms up, feeling that lovely strength that's happening through the center of the body, reaching up tall. Out breath for warrior 2 as we open up, looking out over the front hand, shoulder blades pulled back and down, chin tucked in. And then we bring our hands behind our ears here, and this is from our gentle flow this week as well, and come into some oblique pulses. So what that looks like is bending down, so elbow to knee, and then inhaling to come up. So activate that core that we've been working on, and it's kind of like a squeeze, like an out breath squeeze to come down, and then an inhale to come up. And we aim for 3. Squeeze to come down. Inhale to come up. And then hands on hips to release. They get a little bit sore by now. We come over to a full extended side lunge now. So either arm resting on the knee or sending it down further if your flexibility allows. Opening up that top shoulder and reaching that top arm up. And that leg probably having about enough by now. So then we bring both hands down either side of that front foot as we pivot the back one around. Maybe walking this front foot a little bit further out. And then staying here if this is enough for you, or grounding the right hand, walking the left foot around to come into a modified plank, side plank, or popping the top hand on to come into the full version. And then down onto your bum is the next one. How are we going? That's it. So that's a modified version actually too, Loretta. That can be a really good one. Or stacking your feet on top of each other. No, honestly, that was really good.
I feel like I'm building a house with my own body.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Buying some wood, a little bit of this,
A little bit of that.
get some extension beams.
Yes, whatever's going on, we can do all that. So then we come into our boat from here. So if you're facing the back of the mat, you can still do it from there.
Oh yeah, that's my bathtub.
Yeah, exactly. I love this, actually, building a house. Hey, that could be a cool theme for a kids' yoga session. Anyway, so activating the core here. What was that, sorry? Yeah, that can work. So activating that T-zone again to get that body out and squeezing those obliques in here. Nice tall back as we either stay here if this is your boat pose, or we lift the feet up with the palms facing in and extending that shoulder blades back and down, but extending the arms out. You might even, because we've done this a bit before, stretch them, but I find that one hard for me today. And then release to come down. And then we cross the feet, bring the hands to the front, downward facing dog. I like that little transition. It feels like a bit of a dance move as we cross and roll forward. And then so spreading out the fingers, sending the chest back, lifting those hips up, bending one knee down at a time. And then what are we up to? Right leg, aren't we? So lifting that right leg up, pulling it through to the front, and then coming up to warrior one on this side, flattening that back foot, bend in that right knee, reaching up, grounding through the feet, just bend into your front one there, yeah, beautiful. And then we open up to our warrior two, having those hips open, looking out over that front hand, shoulder blades back and down. And then bringing hands behind the ears for our oblique pulses, so open up those shoulders, out breath to come down, squeezing in the core, in breath to come up. Out breath, in breath. And we go for one more. And then just to keep that leg working, extended side angle, so right arm to right leg, or extend it further down, opening up this top shoulder and releasing the arm up towards the ceiling, maybe looking up towards the ceiling if that works. And then we pivot down, so left hand comes down on the inside of this right leg as we walk that foot out, rolling over onto the outside of the left leg as we wiggle this foot around. Use the core, use the sides of the body to reach on up, or if you'd like to try the full version, foot stacked on top, shoulder blades back and down, chin tucked in, and then down to your bum. No, but that's perfect, though, Lorena. It's like I'm stuck in now. That'd be a good one to stay stuck in for your body anyway. So we come into our boat pose after this one now. So choosing your level, activating T-zone, getting up nice and tall, maybe lifting, maybe holding, maybe lengthening, that's it. Finding that balance, maybe extending, maybe twisting. So there's lots of options, and then coming on down, crossing the feet, coming over our hands, wide knees, big toes touching to come on down before we get to our balance flow to finish off our core work today. Breathing gently. So we'll inhale to push through the hands, curling those back toes up. We'll do a downward facing dog, but we won't be here long, as we then tippy toe, wide feet, tippy toe all the way up towards your hands, and then inhale to lift, and then hands down to heart space. Okay, for our little balance flow that we'll do here, they're ones that we've been working on, but we'll workshop them, so we're not in a rush. But the idea of the pose of these ones is that we're going to lift the knee up first, send it back to aeroplane, and then come into our dancer pose. So all the good stuff for the core, but it needs a lot of work and a lot of focus to get what we need out of it. So left foot, toes spread out and grounded, coming onto the balls of the feet of that right leg. And here we activate the core. So we lift the pelvic floor, bring those hips, bones in, and then when you're ready, lifting that leg all the way up. But we stay here until we're stable. So we find that position first, and then gently and slowly, keeping that core working, we send that foot back. And you might need to stop here somewhere and rebalance, and then go a little further, bending further down, sending the foot, so the heel sends away, toe pointing down, and then chin tucked in, lengthen through the crown, as we then release the hands, send them back, shoulder blades pulled back and down, and then maybe bending that back leg, finding the foot, bringing the left arm forward, Pushing the foot into the hand before then gently coming forward. I'll talk you through the next one as well. Knee up and down. You do that whole one time. Without having to put the foot down. Nice concentration. Yeah, I could see that. I could really see that. So we're going to go to the other side now. Take your time. I'll talk through and I might be able to give some feedback. Try not to talk to you while you're balancing though. So right foot grounded this time, toes spread out, finding a focus spot just in front, and then activating that core, feeling strong before then lifting up the left leg. Stay there until you're focused and strong, making the next move as we send the foot back gently, slowly. If you need to stop and rebalance, do that, and then send that foot further back. Tucking the chin in, sending that back leg, the heel away, the toe pointing down. If you feel ready to extend the arms as well, shoulder blades pulled back and down. Beautiful tomorrow. And then when and if you're ready, bending that back leg to grab hold. You've got it, Loretta. And then readjusting here, pushing foot into hand, extending other arm out long, breathing gently, and then release. Not today? Yeah, so even without that one, yeah. I feel like you always do it better when you don't think about it so much. Yeah, okay. Whereas I feel like you do really well when you're like, you do each stage, like really focused, yeah. How'd you guys go today?
I did it.
You did it? Yeah, and I feel like one side's usually better than the other. So I'm going to ask you now, we're going to choose which side would like some extra loving. So the side that's a little bit harder to do, not your easy side. Your harder one, and we'll do that flow again. So I won't talk you all the way through it this time, I'll let you do it in your own head. But lifting knee up, sending back for aeroplane, then into dancer pose. That's it, Lee. Yes. And then something that can help too is instead of having to put the foot down, you could have your block in front. So bring your hands down to your block. Yeah, and then yes, exactly.
Can you do it all in one, or are you meant to take this?
Well, then yes, you can definitely, and you're using momentum then as opposed to your muscles though. So I find it's easier if you do it that way, but you won't get the muscle work out of it. Yeah, but give it a go too if you've got that time now, just see how it feels. Because sometimes vinyasas are nice that way.
It's a muscle that feels good when you're cheating.
That's true too. So I feel like if you did it that way, it'd be like a vinyasa flow. So it's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Yeah. But it's still good for you, right? Yeah, it just depends what you want out of it. I was hoping to come to you then tomorrow. How do you go with that side? Yeah? You okay today? Oh, yeah, fair enough. And I find actually some of these opening ones can be quite good. Yes, got you. Okay, cool. I'll let you have one more go if you... That's it. Yeah, either one. You can do either if that feels good. And then you work on lengthening that leg out at the back. Yeah, exactly. And then leaning more forward so chest comes down. Yeah. Yes. And then allow that back leg to bend, or if you want to. But I find it's easier because sometimes we get thrown out of the pose when we're just trying to kick it up. So sometimes it's easy to just go from here, bend, grab hold. There's less movement. Beautiful tomorrow. Yes. See, sometimes it just needs that extra little bit of work on it. We're done with the big stuff now, so we're going to inhale these arms to come up and then exhale to come all the way down. Bending from the hips, hands down to the ground. Feel free to have a little bend in your knees if you'd like to. But I will get you to grab a block for this next one as we bring our knees down to the ground. And we're going to put the block between the thighs here to come into a supported camel pose. And just see, maybe not so much of an extension for you though. Montana, see how you go. So here we want to squeeze the block in as we lift up into our camel pose. So butterfly hands at the back, so we're supporting the lower back and the hips. As we inhale to lift up, we squeeze those legs in, lifting and then pushing the hips forward. So glutes activate here too. So squeeze glute muscles in, squeeze legs, reaching the head back and staying for a breath or two before coming up from the chest, not the head to avoid that. How do we find that? Does anybody feel like they can do that a little bit more lately, or?
Feel like I'm not too low backwards.
Oh dear. So, which is so good for your stabilising muscles. Actually, now that you do that, I'll show you something that we'll finish with. Sorry, I did say we'd relax, but we'll do one more.
I did that.
Yeah. It reminded me because it's actually quite good for you when you feel like you have to activate all these muscles to stop you. So if you bring the arms out in front here, so if you bring yourself back to the front, bring the arms in, shoulder blades back and down, squeeze glutes, squeeze that block in, and you work towards just leaning back. And then work towards coming forward. Honestly, do 3 of them and you will feel that tomorrow. Maybe not so much, but yeah. I feel like you get a good excuse to take it easy. Yeah, but and to feel like it's like you're stopping muscles, right? Like, and so the thing that stops you from falling over backwards is all this work that's happening here. But notice too, as you... It is. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when... So the other thing is too, as you're doing that, if your tummy bulges out like this and you get like a back arch, that's when we have to condense all of this and then move into it, and see how much stronger that is than your tummy coming out. Have we had enough? That's a little bonus one for little bonus. All right, we'll swing the legs around, come down onto our backs. We will stay on our backs from now until Shavasana. So if you would like to bring a blanket underneath your head. Are you done over there, Leah? I'm impressed you still got your jumper on, actually. Yeah. So we'll come into... Yeah. So good, right? That's what this bit's the best for. So we'll bring those knees in, but nice and wide, for either side of your body if you can. We did a few hip openers today, so we'll just release still a little, rolling the back around on the mat, so we're getting one direction and then the other direction. And we'll come into Happy Baby from here, or your version of Happy Baby. So bringing the knees in, but then sending the feet up. Grabbing hold of legs or feet, if it makes it there. And then using your out breath to push the knees down. And then sometimes it's nice to have a little play here where we can send the feet out wider, cross them over in the middle, just moving around. Sometimes we get pretty static in our yoga poses, so it's nice to have a bit of fluidity. It's also good for the core. How about, oh, no, I think this one's not that. And then we'll bring our interlocked hands over the right knee while sending the left one out long, but we'll allow that left one to make it to the ground. And then with an in-breath, we hold on to it, but then an out-breath, we reach that knee higher up, getting an extra stretch. And then on the next out-breath, we cross it over our body, coming onto the hip of the other side as we roll over to come into our spinal twist. Now, if you'd like this to be more restorative, you can put your knee onto your bolster, which can be quite nice. And then arms extended long, or cactus arms in a T shape. So if you, roll your shoulder back over here. And then just for you, your knee below tummy is usually more comfortable. Yeah, how does that feel, Roy? So I think for your arm, this one here, bring it down this way a little bit, just takes that pressure off. Yeah. And then we work on over time. But you look comfortable there? Ish? Yeah. Comfortable-ish, that's what we work on. And we use the deep breaths in and the long breaths out. And then we breathe in to come back up to the centre. Feel free to do any movements in the middle that feel good, your windscreen wipers, your knees to chest, just any of those things. And then we make our way over to the other side when you're ready. There's no rush, but we bring the other knee, the left knee up to the chest, pulling it in tight as we send the other one away. And if you allow it to come down to the ground, you can have a more of a relaxed stretch as opposed to core work, which it can be. And then on your next out breath, we roll that knee across the body. Remember, if you'd like it to be more restorative, you can throw a bolster or a block underneath. And then we use the breaths. Deep breaths in, long breaths out. And here we think about the core and our movements, our actions, our decisions coming from the centre, from a place of confidence, control. And there's something empowering about being able to do that. And if we can cultivate it in our poses, then we can do it outside the studio as well. And inhale to come back up to the centre. And making any last movements before coming into your favourite Shavasana position. Remember that you can use any or all of your props. There's always extra out the back if you'd like. I'll leave that for you, no worries. Just leave that one when you're ready. With you, no worries. And then we start our Shavasana like we start our grounding, using those deep breaths in. Are you right there? You know what you're doing, that's perfect. Where's your other block actually? I think I've stolen one. Yeah, how rude. Here we go.
That's just me.
That way. And it helps you not fall over. Yeah. Okay. You're good. I'll even hold on to it while you lay back too. Sometimes that helps. And to help calm the whole body down, nervous system reset, we use a shorter in-breath to a longer out-breath. So 4 seconds to breathe in, and then 5 or more to breathe out. And it's an actual message to our brain that we're calm, that we're relaxed. And it can let go, surrender, and allow us to relax more deeply. And after a few rounds of the breaths, we start with our body scan down at our toes and our feet. And we use the in-breath to notice and the out-breath to relax. Before moving up towards the legs. Breathing in to tune in. Breathing out to allow the legs to feel heavy and relaxed. Breathing in for the hips, glutes, pelvic floor. Breathing out to soften and relax more deeply. Inhale to notice the core, the place where we did more work today. Noticing how it feels now. But it might be hard to notice just yet, but if there's any activation, we tune in. Or perhaps you could feel different, stronger, more confident, ready to take on the day. It's okay if there's nothing particular that you've noticed just yet. And on the out breath, allow your core and lower back to relax before breathing in to come up to your chest. Notice your chest rise and fall with every breath. Notice your rib cage expanding, your heart beating. And on your next out breath, allow it to leave your body slowly as you sink down into your mat even deeper. Notice your arms from your shoulders down to your fingertips. As you relax each part. Upper arms, lower arms, hands and fingers. Both are heavy and deeply relaxed. Noticing your face. Allow your jaw to relax as you create space between your teeth. Let your tongue leave the roof of your mouth. Relax your forehead, your temples, the space between your eyebrows. Allowing all the muscles in your face to let go. And taking your body as a whole from your head all the way down to your toes as you release any other things that might be tense. And we stay here for the next few minutes, protecting this calm, this peace that we've worked for. Noticing distractions, but as if they're at a distance. And bringing your attention back to your breath and your body as often as you need, and always with Maitri. Unconditional loving kindness. Start to take a nice deep breath in. The long, slow release breath out as you start to wiggle the small parts of your body, like your fingers and toes. Stretching out arms and legs, and doing movements that feel good for you in this moment before lifting yourself up to a comfortable seated position, taking your time, maybe grabbing a drink. And feel free to do any movements in your body, twists, forward folds, cat-cows. Maybe a little bit of extra stillness can be nice too. And I'll invite you to join me in our chant. 3 Oms, 3 Shantis. We'll start with a relaxed body and a deep breath in. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And take a deep breath in as we lift the arms up. Long breath out as we come down. May you be kind to yourself and others.